It has been noted that it has been a little rough to be a My Hero fan as of late. Season 5 specifically of My Hero Academia seemed to be a turning point for the fanbase, making a lot of people take a pause on the series altogether. Even a lot of my close friends aren't caught up, and it's difficult to say, yeah, Season 5 is not very good, but just you wait after that. I had a video discussing the series versus One Piece that will never see the light of day if Toei has anything to say about it. But in that video I talked about how it was kind of a plus for me that so many people were down on the series, but enough of the fans, including myself, were keeping up with it almost to prove the haters wrong. And there's an interesting thing that happens when you have a return to form for a series. Suddenly everyone who loved it to begin with is vocally showing out to praise it, and My Hero Academia might have just had one of those that completely saved the series. But what happens when it doesn't just return to form, but goes beyond? The best part about television is the ability to build on itself. Because of the numerous episodes you can have, there is so much to draw from when a series like My Hero has been going on for 6 seasons. By the way, spoilers for the show for any of you turkeys sticking around. The whole setup of Vigilante Deku, to me, felt a little bit rushed only because this isn't the same plucky protagonist we've had for 5 seasons. In this section of this arc, you can definitely see Horikoshi wear his influence of Spider-Man on his sleeve. The problem for me is Spider-Man being alone is one of the aspects that I don't really gel with when it comes to that series that a lot of fans love. And I get the draw. This Deku listens to Simple Plan and still gets through tough times like the rest of us. But it almost felt like it was going against a lot of what was building for our protagonist this whole time. But with the episode Deku vs. 1A, it kind of feels like the point. This is supposed to be rushed and forced because from everything we've seen, this is exactly who Midoriya isn't. The only reason he's so focused on this ideal is because he thinks it will be the only way to protect everyone he loves. This is the same thing that happened with his mentor, All Might, shielding the enormous weight of having an incredible power to protect the world mostly on his own. We see how this exact thing plays out in the Kamino incident, with All Might winning through his own sheer force, but almost killing himself in the process. There's some really great imagery here during their battle of All Might, this legendary figure alone and weak, trying to keep the flame going. This is also the same side we see of what made Endeavor create a rift in his family, trying so hard to chase this goal down all on his own. We see through the eyes of a younger Hawks, Endeavor alone trying to build a path to catch All Might. We are given these two iconic figures that in most cases would be aspirational. But instead this is shown in this story as a cautionary tale to try and avoid taking everything on yourself. Which leads to Deku. After a huge battle trying to take on the burden of saving the world to himself, he starts to spiral with this one goal in mind. So much to the point of being close to unrecognizable to people around him, which leads to a brilliant setup of Deku versus Class 1A. As mentioned, all of these people are aware of the negative consequences of someone carrying the burden of being a hero on their own. So of course they want their friend back before he gets to that point. Another image we see repeated in My Hero all the time is a hand reaching out. It's a simple gesture, but it's usually Deku reaching out to help someone in need, which is flipped on itself in this episode, a quote from Uraka specifically, "Who will save heroes when they're the ones in trouble?" Each one of these classmates reach out to Midoriya trying to get him back out of the depths he's gone to. It's this it takes a village mentality that is so brilliantly done. With each of these stories, Class 1A cry out to Deku, we see what they remember him for. Not for his heroics, but for his immense kindness to every person he meets and his unstoppable perseverance. They are not idolizing him to the level they did for All Might, and the symbolism of this going down right in front of the statue of All Might is the cherry on top. I can't think of a better location for Class 1A to avoid following the same steps as the previous vestiges. Everything here is calling back to so many powerful scenes in the series. There's of course specific memories they have with Midoriya and how he's helped them all along the way. Quick things like Midoriya saying, "Combined we could take down All Might," and now 1A having to go against a force like All Might in Deku. But more importantly than that, mirroring exact moments that happened in the show, like the moment with Iyada going after Deku, the same way Kirishima reached out for Bakugo. But also saying the same phrase that Deku gave him when he was in need in their fight versus Stain.
"I'm not a complicated man. I like cinema."
And the final piece to pull it all together floored me. All that I've brought up was enough to elevate this to being in the discussion for one of the best episodes for My Hero. But With the title like Deku vs. Class 1A, I was expecting a rematch of Deku vs. Bakugo. We've gotten this fight 2 times now, and with Bakugo's speech at the end of the last episode, I assumed we were gearing up for a round 3, but what we got was better. Instead, we're given a shonen rival pouring his heart out to a confession of all the bullying he gave to someone who was just trying to be his friend. I couldn't imagine the growth of a one-dimensional character like this in the early seasons of this series. But we get a fully changed character that acknowledges the damage he's done in an effort to save his friend. And to that end, with him physically holding him up to carry that weight. What more do you want? I love this show. Later, haters.